Hello and welcome to our lesson on compound sentences. Let's get started. For each slide here, I'm going to go ahead and pause it in case you want to copy any of this into your notes or write any of this down. So if you would like to do that, I would go ahead and pause it now, and I will be with you in just a moment. Alright, compound sentences. Compound sentences are sentences in our writing that contain two or more independent clauses. The important piece of this definition, again, is two or more independent clauses. It's important to note that there are no subordinate clauses in these sentences. So, for example, you will not have an adjective clause, you will not have an adverb clause, you will not have a noun clause. You can have a variety of different types of phrases in compound sentences, but there will not be any subordinate clauses. For this lesson, I will be focusing on these three different types of ways to punctuate your compound sentences. It's also important to note that there are other ways to punctuate compound sentences, but for the purposes of this particular lecture, I'm going to focus on the use of a comma and coordinating conjunction, a semicolon, and a semicolon followed by a conjunctive adverb. Alright, for our first set, or our first punctuating skill, we're going to focus on commas and coordinating conjunctions. I'm going to go ahead and let you pause the video here so that you can copy down what you see in front of you, and I will be right back when you are finished. Alright, welcome back. We're going to go ahead and get started. It's important for you to note that the specific coordinating conjunctions here, and, but, for, nor, or, so, yet, are pretty much going to be the foundation of using compound sentences. In sentence A, Alberto and Jesse increased their speed, so they passed the other runners in the race. In the middle of the sentence, I can see my comma and coordinating conjunction here. That's generally going to indicate, unless it's items in a series, that there is an independent clause on one side and an independent clause on the other side. So if we look in front of the word so, we see Alberto as our subject and Jesse as our subject, and we see the verb increased as the verb. There is one independent clause. Following the coordinating conjunction, we see the word they as the subject and passed as the verb. I have two independent clauses joined by a coordinating conjunction. That makes a compound sentence. In sentence B, I have not yet finished my essay, but it should be done by Monday. Again, unless I have items in a series, I see a comma and a coordinating conjunction here. So I will be looking for a subject and verb on one side of the conjunction and a subject and verb on the other side of the conjunction as well. Sentence B, I is the subject, have finished is my verb. After the conjunction, I have my subject it, and my verb should be done. And again, on both of these, I have two independent clauses being joined by a comma and a coordinating conjunction. Next up, we've got the use of just a semicolon. In middle and high school, it is more than just the winky face on a smile that you might send in a text message to your friends. A semicolon is an important piece of punctuation that actually has a specific relevance when you're joining two independent clauses. I'm going to pause the presentation here, or you should actually pause the presentation here, and I'll be here when you get back. Alright, here we go. Sentence A. The artist preferred to paint in oils. He did not like the watercolors. Again, we immediately see our use of a semicolon here, so that should indicate for us right now that we're looking at a compound sentence. Again, just like with the comma and a coordinating conjunction, we're looking for a subject and verb on one side and a subject and verb on the other. Sentence A. Artist is my subject. Preferred is my verb. On the other side of my semicolon, I have he is the subject and did like as my verb. And I have one independent clause being joined with another independent clause. In sentence B, my mother enjoys spaghetti and meatballs. My father prefers steak and potatoes. Once again, my eyes should see that there is a semicolon there, so I should have sort of a red flag up thinking that there's probably going to be some type of compound element here. In the first independent clause, mother is my subject. Enjoys is my verb. On the other side of my semicolon, I have father as my subject. Prefers is my verb. Once again, looking at this sentence, I have two independent clauses, making it a compound sentence. And last but not least, we have a semicolon followed by a conjunctive adverb or transition word and a comma. This is probably my favorite way to use a compound sentence, and it's probably the easiest for most of you to use because you have been writing these types of sentences since elementary school. You've just been writing them as two separate sentences separated by a period. So if you look down the list of suggested subordinating conjunctions here, you will find many of those words are already part of your writing. So in order to make your writing just one step above everybody else's, you're really going to look at making them into a compound sentence and using that effectively. Again, I'm going to pause the presentation here, or actually you're going to pause the presentation here, get this copied down, and I'll be right back. Alright, let's see if we can wrap this up in about 1 minute. Sentence A, San Francisco is my favorite city. In fact, I plan to spend 2 weeks there this summer. The first thing we should notice is that we have a semicolon here, and then obviously followed by a conjunctive adverb there. That indicates that we've got independent clauses. In elementary school, you might have just put a period. Of course, I knew that was going to happen because we were right at the end of the presentation, but let's go ahead. All right, San Francisco is my subject. It's my linking verb there. I'm going to look for something on the other side of my semicolon and conjunctive adverb. I is my subject. Plan is my verb. And then sentence B, I am not interested in a trip to Asia this year. However, I would like to go to Europe. Again, I'm hoping your eyes will begin to notice the use of a semicolon, a conjunctive adverb, and a comma there. The comma is an essential piece. If you're going to make this a compound sentence, you must use the comma after the conjunctive adverb. Again, just a quick review, we're looking at subjects and verbs on both sides. So I is my subject, am is my linking verb, I is my subject here, would, like is my verb, and that's it. The one thing I do want to point out to you is if you use a semicolon, the word after the semicolon, here and here, should not be capitalized. You always want to start with a lowercase letter. And just like our coordinating conjunctions and the solo use of a semicolon, these sentences, I have two independent clauses. That's it for now. I try to keep it short, but if you have any questions, I will see you tomorrow.